You can just talk, yeah?
No, rock, paper, scissors.
I can go first.
Alright, go for it. Brother, you're wicked, mate.
Yeah, you are.
You are wicked.
Thanks, guys.
Naturally. Pinnells.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been good as well. Sorry. You've been great too.
Exactly.
I also don't be too keen on you. I don't want to be like this. That could be a good outtake.
Cool.
Actually.
Yeah, there we go. Like you talking, I think you're really good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm number one fan person, haven't I?
I know.
Yeah, he's brilliant though, isn't he?
Hi, I'm Casey. I'm here with Taz and Will, and we're going to be talking about their journey at Darwin, a bit of what the life's like here. Will, if you want to start, give yourself a bit of an introduction.
Yeah, so I'm William Miller. I've been at Darwin for the last 9 months now, and I work as a executive consultant within the ERP space, and particularly focusing on Dynamics 365 across Europe.
Taz?
So hi, I'm Taz. I manage the ERP contracts business unit. I've been at Darwin for 3.5 years.
How did you first get into recruitment?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah.
Cool. So I've been in recruitment for coming up to 11 years.
Right.
So first started at a company called S3, initially recruiting in the NHS market, but I've always really wanted to recruit in tech.
Right.
So made that change while I was at S3 into the tech London data market. And yeah, it was at that point, there came a point where I was looking for a firm with a slightly different culture,
Yeah.
also with a bit of a different drive, and Darwin really spoke to me. Had a really good call with Paul, got to meet the senior or the leadership team, I should say, and I just really liked Darwin's drive, their ambition, and the fact that they were flexible to try new things. They weren't stuck to doing the same markets that they have been doing for the past 20 plus years, and that was really refreshing. So that was my story of how I came to Darwin.
Nice. Will?
Brilliant. Yeah, I have been in recruitment for, blimey, I think the last 8 years now. So I've only, for the last 8 months and since joining Darwin, completely changed the whole field of recruitment and now gone into tech, obviously, which is what Darwin specialise in. And I started out my recruitment career in education. So
Okay.
I was working with further education colleges throughout the UK, and that started with my journey. I originally was based, because I'm from Jersey in the Channel Islands, so I was there for a number of years, and then spent some time recruiting in London for one of their counterpart offices, and then made my way out to Essex, and that's where I'd met my now girlfriend, and started to kind of have an itch within recruitment that, you wonder whether or not a different type of recruitment might be something for you and something to be engaged upon. And I first came across Darwin on LinkedIn, and there was a lot of they're very busy within my LinkedIn page. As soon as I started being followed by the internal recruiter Dan, he was great at putting up content, really kind of speaking like my language of the way I want to be working with a company, and essentially to be. I think the main thing that attracted me is that your voice will always be heard here, and you've always got an opinion to move forward. So that really attracted to me. So then that's when I reached out to Dan, and I was looking at the time to move away from London as well, to get away from commuting, to be more locally as here as well. And now I've got a 20-minute walk to work, which is nice. And I was really interested and taken by what Darwin are doing and the way that they've adapted, particularly for the last 20 years, because they've not tried to keep going with the same markets or the same fields of work or industries, to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. They've adapted, they've changed, they've looked at who's busy, who needs requirements at the time, and now they've gone into loads of different other spaces that we're really starting to see a lot of movement on. And that was why I was taken to move to Darwin, and that's where I am today. So.
Yeah. How did you find the hiring process?
Yeah, well, I was Taz, my good friend here, was part of the hiring process. The hiring process was actually the best. So obviously I started the application process must have been last May time. Dan was great. Had an initial call with him. He spoke to me about Darwin, told me about the values here and what they're trying to build. I then submitted my CV through to him and immediately got a response in less than 24 hours with a request for interview. That interview, they wanted to move as quickly as possible, which was great to see, and eager to show that obviously they were trying to get people on board. After attending that first stage, there was then a decision pretty much straight away afterwards, Dan called me and moved on to a second stage that then led through to having an interview with Taz here. That then was successful, or must have been successful because I'm here. And I was made an offer with less than 48 hours after that. So I think the whole recruitment process probably took less than 2 weeks, which was really good and particularly really helpful for someone like myself who was eager to find the next step in my career.
Definitely. How was yours, Taz?
Mine was an interesting one. Paul reached out to me actually over a year before I joined.
Okay.
And the second time he reached out to me, I couldn't ignore it. As I mentioned, I think one of the biggest reasons why I was really attracted to joining Darwin was the leadership team. And not only working with the likes of Paul, Mike, Alex, it was about creating something new.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity to build something that wasn't built yet, basically. So that was really exciting for me. The interview process was seamless. I had a chat with Mike, with Alex, but that whole experience was really warm for me. So I think typically it's scary when you've been at one firm for 7 years to move on.
To move over.
Right. So what I was looking for was trust, but also an opportunity to develop and grow myself, and that's what I found here. I felt that even to this day, the leadership team's been really warm to new ideas. So joining the business, I could bring the best of the things I had learned from my last business, but also adapt and see how Darwin does things.
Yeah.
And so I'm really proud to be part of something where there's the whole leadership team. We've all got experience, but we can bring that together to create something pretty remarkable. And so I think very, very good process for me as well.
What did you start as? Was you recruitment consultant? What was your first role?
I joined the business as a manager.
Okay.
So I think I'm probably one of the only managers. I think I'm the only manager who didn't come through the ranks.
Yeah.
Which again in itself was quite unique for me in terms of an experience, but that also speaks volumes about how the business made me feel welcome within that. And from day one, as Will touched on, this is a business and a culture that listens, right? And so we appreciate and respect every single person within the business. Everyone has experience. Everyone comes from different walks of life, and so this was, even joining as a manager. I've never really felt that I'm missing having that kind of previous relationships with people, etc. From day one, it's been super warm.
Nice. How was your journey? What did you start as well?
I'm still the same job title that I was when I started. I was brought in as kind of a senior recruitment consultant due to the experience that I'd had previously. That is an executive consultant here. It's the journey coming on board and starting with Darwin, particularly being for myself where I felt I came from an industry in education where I was really well knowledgeable. I knew the market, I knew the candidates, I knew my clients, and I basically had to start from scratch. Yeah. So it was quite daunting actually at the beginning. Not that I vocalised that to too many people. I tried to keep a cool face. But it was daunting, and Darwin made it really easy for me. And the training program that was set up and the way I was engaged with to try and get up to speed and start, really understanding the market as soon as possible to get yourself into a position where you're getting in front of clients, within the first month was really impressive. And I was really impressed with the trainer that we had. And now I'm 8 months into the job, and I feel, there's always learning to take place every day, but I feel very well equipped to do my job, and I feel that if I need to lean on anyone or I need to speak to anyone, everyone's there. That's talking from anyone at my level to a manager level up to MD, whoever it is, you can chat to anyone here, which is great.
I've touched on with quite a few people about Naomi's training as well. Did you have sessions with her?
I did. I've had many sessions with her at the beginning. She is great. She brings a lot of energy, which is vital, I think, to training and especially to engage with people. But I think the best thing I'd say about Naomi that I really appreciated is that a lot of people at Darwin come from different walks of life, and she's great at managing people differently. And the way that the people understand, she'll register that might not be sitting with someone. Obviously, it's difficult in a room of people when you're on a whiteboard and you're talking to people. Everyone has to understand in the same way. But she will pick up who might be not as engaged or not understanding as quickly as the other people might be, and she'll take them aside or she'll talk to them separately. Or when you break off into groups, she'd then go and discuss with you. So she's incredibly attentive like that, and her training is, as I mentioned at the beginning, just really engaging and very active. You're not just listening the whole time. You're doing a lot of activities, and she gets you thinking.
Would you say that you put that into your day-to-day now, her training?
100%. Yeah. My entire pitch to any clients that I speak to has been helped built by her. Particularly, as I mentioned, from a world that I've only just been learning for the last 8 months, that she doesn't actually even necessarily specialise in. She's been fantastic. So it's been great.
How was your journey with Naomi? Have you had some sessions with her?
Absolutely. I've been in recruitment for a long time. I've had training for a long time. I've run training for many years, but this is one of the few jobs in the world where I think you constantly need to train. It's like any sport, right?
Yeah.
Recruitment, contract recruitment, is a muscle that needs exercise daily to be very good at it. So I volunteered to jump in a couple of sessions with Naomi, and was surprised after the first one or two that I jumped in that I wanted to do more training with her, because I think it's important to dust off the gloves, as Bill likes to remind me. And I found it super helpful. Everything from my initial kind of go-to-market pitch, all the way through to even prospecting. It's really good to hear from a different perspective, and Naomi's been training for many years, so I definitely took a lot of value from sessions with her.
What would you say building up your desk has been like? Was it difficult? Was it quite easy to do?
I'll take this one first. So I've actually done it, not in tech obviously, but in education. I had to do it 3 times over with the previous company. So I feel as though the basics of recruitment is similar to no matter what market or industry you're in. So I had an idea of how I wanted to set up my foundation of the way I need to try and attack it and understand it and get up to speed with everything. But I think with tech, the important side about it is trying to actually just understand how the market reacts to you. And in that process, a lot of it is firstly chatting to candidates and finding out exactly from them and getting a lot of market knowledge and information. And people love to be in a world where we are honest now and transparent. And I think that goes a long way with whether you're chatting to clients or candidates. And I think that was a very good place to start. It helped me a lot because there's a lot of technical, pardon the pun, there's a lot of technical words within the tech industry. And if I'm honest, I had no idea what kind of anything meant about sort of 8-9 months ago. Right. Obviously, my knowledge has developed massively now, but the basics of just understanding and listening and taking the time to understand people really helped me build that up from the beginning. And what was initially always daunting when you first start, you realise probably after 6 months you do have a real good scope of the way you're moving and understanding of the market.
Yeah, Taz?
I've been in recruitment for quite a long time, so I've changed and built markets from scratch multiple times. I started in the NHS market on a very niche area, and then moved into data recruitment contracts, and then managed a software development team from scratch. And so that was a learning curve before I even joined Darwin. And then joining Darwin, we were going through a big change at the time. I joined a business that was reviewing itself and looking forward. So initially I started our renewables contract desk, but the opportunity to create or start or build out the ERP business or desk was something I always wanted to do, and I was waiting for the opportunity to do it. For us in contract recruitment, building a desk isn't the biggest challenge, right? Because it comes down to, I think, everything that Bill said, I completely echo. It starts with the candidates, right? And it starts with finding the best 50, 100 candidates in the market in your specific skill set, in a specific location, really. So you've got a finite data set to start with, and building good relationships. And relationships comes from honesty, transparency. It comes from following up with people, common courtesy, like not letting candidates, calling candidates up and then not calling them back. It's about building that up, and that then leads to picking up market trends, signs, knowing who the big buyers are really, right? And so that the whole exercise has been great because, you know, not only are we creating desks from scratch, but Darwin's also got some amazing customers that have been with us for 20 plus years. So it's not like we haven't had jobs to work on from day one. So I think both of those things combined has enabled us not only to have, you know, I would say, you know, we have started from a standing start, you could say, but we've also had things to work on, you know, and accounts that we could, you know, essentially support with along the way.
And one thing, sorry, I just touched on to add there is when you start a new market, it might be daunting, but particularly when you're in a new company, in a company that you feel that backs you, it's incredibly exciting where you can go with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing, because a lot of this job is actually about motivation and feeling that you can do it, because no one really knows the trends of the markets and how they're going to change, but you can understand them and you can learn them, and that's an exciting place to be in, particularly when you're building up a particular team or an industry within a bigger company, because you've got the backing around you and you've got people to lean on who have good knowledge. So I think excitement, I just wanted to add that as well to it. Doesn't matter whether we're in a meeting or not, Taz has got to take a call. So.
Moving on to culture, how would you say you're gelling with a team? Would you say everyone's really supportive? What's the team like?
Absolutely, I'll take this one because I love it. I absolutely love it. I think I'm probably biased when I say the contracts team is brilliant. I've always been told and have always said that it takes a special type of person to be a contract recruiter. But what comes with that is passion, energy, having a sense of humour, and but to speak about the wider business, I really liked, I was really attracted to working with a business actually outside of London, where the people would be a lot more approachable.
Yeah.
I've always worked in London. I've always loved working in London, but working in Essex, where a lot of people are, though we have different interests, or from similar walks of life, definitely helps with our internal culture. We've got a fantastic open space downstairs. We take breaks as a business together, so that encourages the business to socialise together, to have a laugh together. Because of course during our working hours we're working hard together, but so having that balance I think is super crucial, and that's really helpful. I think beyond that, other aspects of the culture which is great is we have loads of events throughout the year, which is just about the company, you know, getting on, having a great time together, whether it's a sports day, whether it's company drinks, whether it's pancake day, whether it's a sales day where everyone's dressing up in different funny outfits. There's never, you know, a couple of weeks going by where something isn't happening. So definitely I think fantastic for culture for me.
Yeah, definitely. Will, what's your take on culture here?
Yeah, I feel like Taz touched on pretty much a lot of stuff I'd say too. I think you know, it sounds like a bit of a cliche, but it is a big deal. I think when you start a new company, that people are welcoming more, and they are very much so, and particularly in companies that people, you know, some people have been working here together for 10 plus years. So you know, cliques can happen. People can really be best mates with people and kind of not always socialise everyone else. And don't get me wrong, there are little pockets of groups who get along really well, and they obviously socialise outside of work. But everyone's just really inclusive.
Yeah, it's not that cliquey.
No, exactly.
No.
And it's friendly. And as Taz mentioned, we take breaks at the same time, and there's a fantastic mess area downstairs where you've got a pool table, a darts table, you've got a PlayStation, you've got a table tennis table. So it's just a great culture, and it's really fun to as Taz mentioned, to work hard. We work hard with each other, but then also to just have some downtime and enjoy it, even though you are still in the office and you are returning back to work and or working hard in the next 15 minutes. And it can build a lot of good morale, and it makes you feel good at work, particularly in this job where your stress levels can go up and down throughout the day. It's nice to go and play a bit of competitive or socialise in a sport way, and then come back to your desk. But yeah, just in general, everyone's been great and very friendly since I've been here. So
obviously recruitment's heavily based on motivation. What would you say motivates you the most to get something out the day, make sure that everything's done?
Just want to win.
Yeah.
I think it sounds really cheesy, but the fact of the matter is everyone is here to make money, right? No one signs up for a sales job because the job's fun. The job's tough, right?
Yeah.
And the fact is that we wouldn't do it unless we were really driven people. But if you're asking what motivates me, it's because I want to achieve. And that comes in different forms. I think, what's good here is we have a very competitive culture within the business. So we've got some phenomenal performers within the business, but there's always someone that you can look up to, right?
Yeah.
To say, I want to beat that person next. Even for our top performers, they're up against themselves, right? And I think the thing about sales is, you're only as good as your last month. You're only as good as your last year. Even our top performers are trying to beat records that they set last year.
Yeah.
So what motivates me is to be the best, and that comes again. Sometimes it's about having a win for the day. Some days, some weeks, you're not doing tons of deals, etc. So it's about changing your lens in terms of what you regard a win, so that you still feel like a winner at the end of that day or at the end of that week.
Yeah, I think Taz hit the nail on the head with it being a sales job. We're here to try and make money, and that's got to be the end goal. Particularly for myself, I've just become a dad recently, so life's in a very exciting time. But there'll be a lot of things coming up in the future that I want my children potentially, in the future to have options to do. So that is a big drive for me personally at home. But just to lean back onto the office side of things, it's interesting actually. I didn't think about it until I started saying it, but when I said, there's a mess area and there's lots of fun little games to play, and how many people actually get involved with that, it leans again on the competitive side.
Yeah.
So because everyone's competitive whilst working, and you actually want to beat each other in the office, no wonder in the breaks we then go and be competitive in something else. So it's quite funny. No matter where you go in the office, there's always that competitive nature, but it's always in goodwill and good fun. No one's ever there to upset anyone, or at least I hope they're not. But it leans on both angles, and I think that's quite a good motivator both ways, because it keeps the office vibed, and then it leads into the other area where everyone has to get along and you have to enjoy the people you work with, otherwise the job's not fun. So
Definitely.
it's a key part of it, I think.
For obviously Darwin, we're constantly expanding. For someone joining Darwin, what would you say would be your one little bit of advice that you wish you knew before, or that you've learned and picked up along the way?
Number one advice to anyone who joins the business is don't be shy. Be brave enough to ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask silly questions. The caveat is don't ask the same question twice. That you haven't listened the first time. But no, on a serious note, don't be shy. I think the best thing is it's a very accommodating, very friendly environment. Everyone wants the person next to them to do really well, so you can do really well really quickly if you're asking the right questions and asking lots of them. Don't be shy, ask questions.
I think as Taz went kind of more professional, I'll go something more personal. Is just, if you do make the jump and you want to be part of this company, just say yes. Because there's, as we touched on, of socialising outside and opportunities to have incentives, and not even incentives, just stuff to do at Darwin, whether it's a sports day or going for a drink after work or whatever it is. Get involved with the culture of it and say yes to as much as possible, because it's great fun and it will only benefit yourself here and make it a more enjoyable place to work. So that would be my advice.
Nice. Well, thank you for taking the time out to do this. It means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you too,
Awesome.
Casey.